This video is sponsored by XSplit. More about them and a special offer at the end of this video. I am Anthony from HNE, and you're watching 10 Questions. Today I'm here with Tina, a competitive Pokemon trading card game player. I will ask 10 questions about her experience as a competitive Pokemon trading card game player, as well as what led her onto that path. Hi, Tina.
Hey, what's up?
So I typically ask everybody generally the same 10 questions with a couple of modifications based on who they are. I might have some follow-ups, so it just depends on what you respond with. And my first question is, what entertained you while you were growing up?
I liked watching cartoons growing up. I mean, I was mainly an introvert growing up. Before I got into Pokemon, I was in martial arts. I was a first-degree black belt in Taekwondo. I was in soccer, so that's what I did as a kid, I guess.
So basically, you watch cartoons solve violence, and then learn how to commit violence.
It was self-defense reasons only. But no, I was a first-degree black belt. I started that in I think 95, 96 when I was in 5th grade. So yeah, that's what I did. I had a very interesting childhood. I was more of a loner though, so.
Okay. So what made you decide to start playing competitively?
Well, I actually started playing Pokemon at the very beginning.
We're talking like 1998?
We're talking 1999, so leagues actually started around September to December 99.
Okay, under Wizards of the Coast, to be clear.
Under WotC, yes.
Okay.
So back in the day, so if people didn't play back then, you went to your local Toys R Us to play. So my first competitive deck that I remember playing was Haymaker with, Jungle Scyther. Because Scyther, nothing was resistant against grass. And it was a DCE and one other energy, and you just attacked, and, nothing was resistant to grass. And that was the first competitive deck I remember playing. The reason I got into that is I watched, when the anime came out in September of 98, I actually started watching the anime before I got into the card game, because anime started in September of 98, and the card game started in 99.
Okay.
So I actually started playing because I was watching the anime pretty hardcore. So, I've been in it since literally day one.
So then I guess it brings me to, because the Pokemon Company took over from Wizards in technically the end of 2002, but the league system started in 2003. Mm-hmm. When did you get into because they scaled up? They started with leagues, and then by 2005 they had the competitive stuff. Did you start playing because they were doing pre-releases, then they start doing battle roads, city tournaments, and then in 2008 is when they really amped it up with the bigger tournaments. Where did you start getting involved in those?
So, as you know, WotC kind of ended in 2002. That's when they had the Seattle World Championships. In 2003, there wasn't that much of Pokemon. So the 2003-2004 season was the season where Pokemon kind of became the Pokemon Company International from WotC. Worlds in 2004 was in Orlando. I did not go to that one, but I did play. So when we went from the Eon series, so you had the Aquapolis that was that was mostly under WotC, and then when it changed over to the EX Ruby Sapphire, that was kind of like the beginning of organized play. So no, I played that during that entire series as well. I actually played through the entire change from WotC to organized play. That's why I have a 4-digit player ID, by the way.
I have 3-digit player ID. Haha. Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, but no, I think my first real deck with organized play from the WotC era, during that change from Ruby Sapphire was the Gardevoir EX, the original from Ruby Sapphire with the Wobbuffet. But in my opinion, Pokemon didn't really vamp itself up until about 2000. I want to say 2008. It just became a lot bigger around then.
Because they also started incorporating in 2008 the video game tournament. So.
Right, you had the 08. Well, you had video game before then, but it wasn't part of organized play.
Right.
You had Journey Across America, right? And you had the 10th anniversary tour in 2006, right? So you had the video game aspect back, but it wasn't really run by organized play.
It was always seen as a side event prior to it.
Yes, it was, and you had 2 age groups, not 3.
Right, because here in Ohio, we treated the video game as a side thing that we did ourselves, and then when it finally became national, and which is funny, the DS came out. That's when it started becoming like a legit part of the entire organized play structure. Because I remember I was selected by the head of the video game organized play people to do the initial alpha testing, and I think well, first off, I did the first online test with other judges, and I ran it. And then they did the rollout for beta, which they invited one person from most of the states, and all of us could run one event just to see how it went. And then they rolled it out nationwide to any organizer who could get the judge status. So I remember that's kind of how it rolled out. And
the reason video game has, even to this day, has been more difficult to run is it doesn't involve buying new product over and over and over again. But I personally believe around 2011 to 2012, when they accepted a lot more organizers into the VG, you had to be a TCG judge, and you had to be a VG organizer. You had to do a different thing. You had to sign up on the forums and do it that way. Okay.
The professor forums, not something public.
Yeah, the professor forums. But to run premier challenges, at one point you already had to run a certain amount of events. You had to have 1 year already under your belt of running card game tournaments. And a lot of people who just wanted to run video game tournaments, they couldn't do it. Okay.
Yeah.
But I think since then they kind of changed that a little. I don't know. But if you want to talk about the general history of organized play, I mean, in my opinion, it was that 2012 to 2013 shift where you had a lot more. You had money on the line. You had the ICs instead of the national championships, right? It was that shift.
IC's International Championship, by the way. It's what just for people watching who didn't know, the ICs are internationals. Because originally, also for people who didn't know, prior to basically Wizards of the Coast started offering cash. Then the Konami started offering cash, and then Pokemon was like, "Why are we still offering scholarships? Most of the people who play are no longer children. They would rather have real money." So then they had to make the decision to offer cash to the Masters players.
Yep. And for those who don't remember, to actually get the scholarship, you had to be under the age of 27 to use it. And if you're over a certain age, you could give it to somebody else. And people are actually selling their scholarship money for pennies on the dollar. And somewhere that changed. And that changed when we went into the IC system instead of the national system. So, I mean, it's because, I believe with the whole monetary rewards I remember going to regionals. If you won a regionals, you won, 3 or 4 boxes? Now you can win, $5,000. I mean, it's a completely different game. But if you want to talk about the history of organized play, in my opinion, it really changed from the 2012 to the 2013 season.
Okay. So, Now, I know you play Magic the Gathering, probably mostly a little bit, right? You just primarily play online, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not really something you do competitively.
No.
So other than Magic, what do you do for fun? What do you play for fun?
Well, I haven't been having a lot of fun recently. I don't know if you want to. Well, I'm just gonna say on your stream, I was running on the Texas primary ballot for since last November. That's basically was a full-time job. But I do enjoy PC gaming. I play Fly for Fun, the MMO. As some people know, I have 21,000 plus hours on that game, which is about 2 to 3 years actually being on that game just 24/7. So yeah, I do play other games, mostly PC. I play some Osu, which is a point and click circle clicking game.
Click on circles, win, yay!
It's literally upset. Okay, so it's called. So when you open up the game, there's actually a song that's called "Click on Circles" or yeah, whatever. Anyway, it's literally a circle clicking game. That's all I can tell you. It's a circle clicking game, but it's really fun. But I play a lot of Minecraft. You probably know this.
Because we should mention that you are a Twitch streamer.
Once in a while.
Occasionally.
I'll do Tetris Effects too because I like Tetris Effects.
I think that's actually your most recent one too. I think.
Yeah.
So, what games do you plan to play in the future? What games are coming out? Like, are you a fan of Animal Crossing? Is that going to be something you're going to play?
I don't know. I've been watching the new Sword Art Online. I'm kind of been behind on my anime, but there is the season that came out 2 years ago, the Alice arc. I haven't watched all of that yet.
Oh, talking Sword Art Online?
Yeah, so so you know how Sword Art Online has all these different arcs? They had the stupid fairy one, they had the stupid gun one. They had one about Excalibur after that. Apparently they had one 2 years ago that has to, like, he's stuck in this world. He's in a coma. And he meets this girl named Alice.
Yes, Alicization, yeah. And they're currently doing a War for Underworld, yes.
So I'm literally now on episode 14 on Alice.
Okay, so you haven't gotten to War for Underworld yet?
No, I haven't.
So you're really trying to catch up on anime.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so are you considering playing anything else competitively? I mean, is Magic in the future for competitive play, or are you just going to stick with Pokemon? Or because you do play a number of online games.
Well, the one reason I stuck with Pokemon for so long is it was one of the only card games you could play and not be getting a lot of grief for being a girl. Now, that has changed over time. It's become very, somewhat, in my opinion, polarized, the community between belief systems, even political belief systems, guys thinking they just can flirt with women because they're at a Pokemon tournament, okay? But, when I was playing Magic, it was just a lot more difficult. I mean, some of the events went on to 2 a.m. in the morning, and I just couldn't do that.
I felt like because I used to work those were always the most fun events. Those are the midnight pre-releases you're talking about.
But I don't know how Pokemon organizers actually do midnight pre-releases because I know some people who do. I mean, I would just.
Here in Ohio, the bigger cities for Pokemon, but Magic, any store that wants to make money will do a midnight pre-release for Magic. So, but yeah, Pokemon, big cities only.
Right?
So what?
The thing is, Magic has always been for adults.
Oh yeah,
right?
it's even rated 13 plus.
The target audience has always been for adults. Now, Pokemon, until very recently, has always been targeted to the kids. You look at things like the Last Chance qualifier, where if you're under the age of 10, they would just let you in, okay? But with the whole change to the IC system and with money on the line, I remember when city championships, for example, were free. right? And now you have to pay $10, $20 for city championships. A lot of those kids who used to go just for fun because it was free don't play anymore.
Well, real quick, city championships were replaced by league cups. So just to be clear to everybody else, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, regionals used to be free, right? The nationals used to be free. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I once said, guys, I don't mind paying $25 for a regional if we get, some extra prizes, if we get a play mat, whatever. I think the first regionals I went to, it was $25, $30. And then that's just skyrocketed. Yeah. I registered late for Dallas this year, and I paid $70. I mean, like, are you kidding me? I mean, yeah. It's kind of like, what?
Yeah. Last year I went to the United States Internationals, and I don't really play competitively, but it was still like or North American International, yeah.
Yeah, NAIC.
But I went there, and I think I paid, it was $10 just for a guest pass, just so I can play.
Yeah, for spectator badge. Yeah.
Yeah, $10 isn't too bad. Just to be able to play some non-competitive, fun stuff. I actually left. I left the IC after the weekend. I made like $60 just because they give away so much stuff. It was nuts. Mm-hmm. I came out better than I went in. It was like the best form of gambling.
Mm-hmm. If I think to play the IC it was like $40-$50. I mean, that's fine. I think if you play the IC and you ask for like $40, just because it's the IC, that's okay. But you shouldn't be asking $40-$50 for a regional, then ask $40-$50 for an IC. I mean, I like the regionals, in my opinion, should be like $25 max.
Right, because you're saying it should scale up basically on a tier level, like the big events, $50, $40. Because like I started doing League Cups about 3 or 4 years ago when the system started. I was doing League Cups for free, and then because of competition, I was forced to charge at least something. Because my numbers were low for free, which is a weird thing. You assume free means more people, but free actually means less people because they want some type of pricing. So I raised it to $5, and then most recently I went to $10, and then this year because I left organizing, the guy who replaced me, it went up to $20 for a League Cup. Now for the video game, I ran an event for the video game. My last event. In February of 2020, it was free. I had just over 2,000 players, but the video game is a different beast altogether. For the card game, people are willing to pay some serious money. But at the end of the rainbow, the card game, you could potentially win a lot of money.
Yeah, and the thing is, for a League Cup, so a lot of people don't know this. So before city championships are free, at the very beginning of organized play, city championships are $10. Okay, that was in the 03-04 season, and only that season. No one knows this because no one played back then. But pre-releases were $15, and cities were $10, and then regionals were free. Yeah. Well, we didn't have regionals. We had Super Trainer Showdown and Gym Challenge, right?
Yeah, so I remember our first cities here. I think it was in 2004, and I was working at the local college, so I got the space for free, and we had 120 players. Like, wow! Like it was the first one in the state. We had 120 players, and I wasn't the organizer for that event. I was a judge, but I was not an organizer. But wow! Like we didn't anticipate 120 players for our first paid Pokemon event. Yeah, and that space was so good. We used it for pre-releases, which the early pre-releases were just explosively large. Like we would nearly run out of product. There were so many players, and then back then PTOs ran all of the premier events. Now
and PTOs are no longer a thing. Basically.
Right, so they've been phasing them out.
Unless you're regional organizer.
Right. Well, they've been phasing them out in general, and now there's a bidding process. So PTO is not guaranteed to get anything. But
the bidding process is only open to a certain amount of people, specific people.
Right,
Like,
and every single time I get outbid, but that's fine. I'm not running events anymore, so
they never let me bid. So
yeah. It's just because you get they want to know the cost of the venue because obviously they're going to pay for it. So the cost of the venue, your staffing, all everything that they want you to bid it like you would any other contract. And if you have the best price in your area, and then they'll go with you. I've just never been that lucky. I don't have the financial backing to go, well, you know what, guys, it's going to cost you nothing because I'm going to sell stuff, and I'll make it back up in sales.
You know how I personally feel about Ohio and the surrounding area basically having 5 drivable regionals. So...
Yeah, because we now have a regional in Columbus in the disguise of a special event during Origins. And then you have Indianapolis.
So SPEs are basically regionals without the funding prize support from Pokemon.
Right. So you get the points, which you basically have to pay to enter the Origins, but then you play in the regional size event, which they have. I mean, regionals have hundreds and sometimes up to 1,000 players. This event, of course, is built inside of convention, so it really doesn't get 1,000 players. But if you're willing to pay the whatever it is up front at the door, plus the event cost, and then there's less people, the better chance you have of getting those regional points. And you only have to play, like, I think, is it 500 points this year for this season?
I don't know. Organized Play just made an announcement today about the whole virus and...
Yeah, because they canceled the European internationals because of it. But
they canceled the Berlin IC. They just canceled 4 regionals. I mean, if you're gonna cancel 4 regionals, I mean, that's a lot. I mean, Brazil only gets a handful of regionals, and one of the regionals they canceled was one of the Brazilian regionals.
Yeah.
So.
But the point is that if you're willing to fork out the dough, and then you can compete in those larger events.
I mean, if you want to fly around the world like I did 2 years ago, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you have planned in the future as far as competing? You said Dallas. Is that upcoming?
Dallas has always seemed to me like in the January. I don't really expect to do anything this rest of the season. I had the last time I played this season was Dallas Regionals, which was expanded. I prefer to play standard, but for the last 3 years, Dallas has been expanded.
And for those who are watching, it's a different play format. The standard format's typically the last 8-ish sets. Sometimes it goes down to 4, and sometimes it's more than 8. Expanded goes back an entire series. Actually, is it black and white still, or is it X or Y up?
It's black and white on.
It's still black and white? Okay. So people who have been playing for years and hasn't really, got a lot of cards out of any specific series has a decent chance of playing through an expanded event. If you play Magic, it's equivalent to I want to say Legacy. Kind of. No, actually, you know what? It's more like Modern in Magic.
Mm-hmm.
You should. I was expecting you to go, yeah, that's exactly what it's like.
I don't really play anything in Magic besides sealed and drafts. And the reason I play sealed and drafted Magic is because I can be like, oh, I pulled a flying creature. I'm drafting that.
Okay, so is there any place online where people can find more about you? Now, I know you have Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter, and you have the same name you've had for years, which is Home of Mew, all one word, no capital letters. You're very picky about that.
No capital letters. That's very important.
You cannot capitalize it. She yelled at me once for it, and I've never done it again. So
yes, I have Facebook, Twitter. I have Instagram. I literally have anything and everything under Home of Mew. I've used it since about January 2001. I've used it for 19 years now. So you can find me literally anything on that name. So, yeah.
Okay. So is there anything else you'd like to mention before we go?
No, not really. I think Pokemon... I mean, I do think Pokemon needs to be careful about the pricing of some of their cards. I mean, I played in the Machamp Donk days and the Donphan Prime days. I played in the Flareados days. You can build a deck for like $100, and Now some of these cards are getting really expensive.
Yeah,
I remember you could buy a.
But that's secondary market supply and demand. That Pokemon has really no control over the value of those cards.
They have control of the pull rates.
They do have that. They could. Okay, I see your point. They could make some things like the Nande GX more frequent, but again, a lot of it.
Let's go back to Heart Gold Soul Silver really quickly. If I bought a box of Heart Gold Soul Silver, you could easily get one of every prem in the box.
I don't know any game that does that anymore.
Well, they should.
I started collecting Transformers a couple years ago, and they always have 4 top level cards, but you're lucky to see one of them in a case. So, but I feel like they do this more for the collectors than the competitive players. The problem is some of those cards are so good, the competitive players have to have them for a decent deck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The thing is in Magic, I know that happens in Magic as well, don't get me wrong, but the difference between, I believe, Magic and Pokemon is you can build a competitive deck in Magic and you don't necessarily need to have, and I'm going to use a very simple example from Guardian Rising, Tapu Lele GX, you had to have it.
Oh yes, very very much. I mean, 3 to 4 in a deck if you want to survive, especially if it lets you to redraw your hand, kind of.
In Magic the Gathering, I feel like they don't force you to have one specific money. I mean, do you have to have a few money cards in your deck? Yes.
Black Lotus is for everyone. We're Alpha Series Black Lotus is for everyone.
I mean, Power 9 for everybody? I mean, come on. I mean, but I'm trying to say is that they don't force you to have a specific money card in your deck. Like Shaman EX, Tapu Lele GX, you had to have them.
I don't know if that's planned when they developed the games. I read a review, or not a review, more of an interview with the developers of the trading card game for Pokemon. And they do play out each set as an independent set with no other cards and kind of create strategies for those sets. But players always seem to find some other use for the cards and bigger strategies that the company doesn't consider when they're building these sets.
For example, when Shaman and Rayquaza came out in the same set, there's actually a Japanese commercial where the Japanese commercial had what was it, Skyfield, Shaman, and Mega Rayquaza in their commercial. That was literally in the Japanese commercial. So, is there R&D only specifically set on that set? Maybe, but sometimes I think that, like, if you are going to make a commercial centered around Rayquaza GX, like, and that's going to be done with Skyfield or whatever, I mean, well, the Japanese also had another set with Shaman in it. We had it as a promo later, so that's completely different argument. But I think sometimes maybe the R&D with the Japanese company needs to be a little bit better. Now, that's not an American issue. That's a Japanese issue for sure. So maybe, I don't know.
So, Tina, thank you for talking to me today. So anybody who is watching, please check out Tina on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and Twitter at Home of Mew. One word, no capital letters. She will know if you try. So thanks for talking to me today, Tina.
You guys have a nice evening. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for watching this video. We would also like to thank our contributors and patrons for supporting this video. If you wish to add to the discussion, post a comment below. Please remember to like, subscribe, and check out our other videos. Are you an up-and-coming content creator looking for a user-friendly way to both record and broadcast your videos? Look no further than the XSplit Broadcaster. You can set up to 4 scenes, download plugins to add additional features, and broadcast your content to either Facebook, Mixer, Twitch, YouTube, or other streaming platforms in 720p resolution for free. With a premium license, you can set up unlimited scenes and broadcast to multiple streaming platforms at the same time in 1080p or better resolution. Be the first person to redeem the code shown here to receive 14 days of free premium access. Or if you missed your chance, click on the sponsor link in the description to get XSplit Broadcaster for free. Thank you for checking out our content. Before you leave, please remember to click like and then subscribe. If you want to receive notifications, do not forget to enable them by clicking on the bell. Then afterwards, check out our social media at HaslageNet and our website at haslage.net.